Okay. So, I wanted to do a reading in regards to what lesson are we currently learning, or what lesson are we about to embark on. I did it for myself and it was just mind-blowing to me. So I wanted to go ahead and get one out for the collective. Okay, so you may resonate with this one, you may not. But let's see what current lesson it is that we are going through, or maybe it's been a lesson that's been repeating itself. Maybe we're just going deeper into the lesson, however it fits with you, because remember, we're all at different stages when it comes to our journeys. So, all right, let's get and I'm going to be using the Four Agreements deck to get a lesson. So, what lesson is the collective currently going through? What lesson? Okay. So we have, don't take anything personally, transform your life. And that's the card. And it says, when you refuse to take things personally, you avoid many upsets in your life. Your feelings of anger, jealousy, and even your sadness will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. Okay. So there's a lesson here of, not allowing things to get under your skin, not allowing things to dictate, maybe how your day goes, or which, emotions you choose to sit with or sit in. Because sometimes, when we take things personally, like this card says, maybe anger comes up and, maybe we do something destructive because of our anger, or, we try to numb ourselves because of our anger. And instead of allowing for that emotion to consume us, we allow ourselves to sit with it. And as we're sitting with it, we realize that this emotion is able to pass through us rather than, suppressing it or repressing it. So the lesson that we're going through is don't take anything personally. So I really love that. Is that what this one is? No. Okay. So let's see. What can you tell me about not taking things personally? What else can you tell me? I just want one. Goodness. Okay. I love it. So the card is experiencing energy, and it says, oh wow, I love this. Okay, this is perfect. A wise person remains centered enough to let go every time the energy shifts into a defensive mode. The moment the energy moves, relaxes, and releases. Letting go means falling behind the energy instead of going into it. Exactly what this card is saying. When we do not allow ourselves to take something personally, we allow for this to fall behind us instead of going into it, right? So I'm going to read it one more time. A wise person remains centered enough to let go every time the energy shifts into a defensive mode. The moment the energy moves, relax and release. Letting go means falling behind the energy instead of going into it. So every time you choose to let go, when the energy starts to shift, especially into something we consider negative, right? when we choose to let go, when we choose for that energy to shift on its own without us trying to control it or suppress it, what happens? It moves through us, it relaxes through us, and we're able to release it. I love that. Okay, so again, remember, this is a lesson, you know, that you're either currently experiencing. This is a lesson that is about to come up for you. You know, this is a lesson that you're just going deeper into. You know, maybe this is something you've already been working on. Now you're just going deeper into the layer of this aspect. Nonetheless, this is what we want to focus on right now, okay? Because this is a lesson that is at hand. Is not allowing ourselves to take to take things so personally. And I know that this is really hard. And I think the reason being is because a lot of us try to seek out some sort of validation, you know, from the outside world. And because we look for validation from the outside world, not only is it, you know, the positive stuff, but also, you know, the negative things that people say to us, we take it to heart. So this is actually really beautiful, the card underneath this one, and it says, always do your best, express your own divinity. And it says, you don't need the acceptance of others, you don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you, and you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. It's so beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna see what, oh, man, these cards are just great today. The deck, or the card at the bottom of this deck, this is experiencing energy again. This one says, nothing ever is worth closing your heart over. So again, you know, too, when we take things personally, we tend to close ourselves off. We tend to be, again, in defensive mode. We tend to feel like, you know, we have to overprotect ourselves, which I don't think that protection is a bad thing, but there's times where sometimes we overdo it, that when you close your heart to something, you know, say you close your heart because you were cheated on. Not only are you closing your heart out to be open, but you're closing your heart out to be open to other experiences, to new experiences, to experience that could like really be positive and benefit you, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the shadow aspects of maybe where, you know, where did this first come from? Where did this start? Where did we start taking things personally? Where did we feel like we needed to have the validation and the acceptance of those around us? You know, the outside world. The outside world is such a huge influence, especially as a child. You know, as a child, we're so heavily influenced by our environment, okay? We're sponges. A lot of the times people don't really know, but from the ages of, honestly, from when we're in the womb up until the age of 7, you are a sponge. You are absorbing everything that is around you. That is basically where your personality forms, is from those ages. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get a shadow aspect. So where is this coming from? Where is this stemming from? Okay, so we have the 3 of Torment, which would be the 3 of Swords, and this is flesh wound. So this is telling me, first what it's telling me is that there's something here from the past, okay? Something here that happened in the past, it's still affecting us to this day, okay? I keep hearing like you keep pouring salt into the wound. So basically what I'm feeling is that you're keeping this belief alive, okay? By allowing others to keep pouring salt into this wound. Some of you guys, this could have to do with like self-confidence, self-esteem issues. Some of you guys may have felt like you were stabbed in the back. Some of you guys may even have like physical back pain, like a lot of physical back pain. I feel like a lot of people out there have a lot of back pain. You know, I'm one of them. So I don't think it's like very uncommon to not. But if you guys look up like where emotions are held, especially within the back, I know that like the shoulder area, it's for a certain thing, and your middle back is, there's certain emotions there, and then your lower back, again, you know, other emotions are held there. So if you kind of look it up and see, like, maybe it's your whole back, or, you know, maybe it's just your middle back, maybe it's just your lower back, maybe it's, you know, near your shoulders. Look to see what emotion is held in those areas, and start to work with that emotion. Okay, every time that emotion comes up, sit with it, you know, acknowledge it, listen to it. Don't try to numb it, you know, don't try to escape from it. I know sometimes it's very uncomfortable to feel things, especially if it's something that we just want to sweep under the rug. Easier to do that in a sense, right? But at the end of the day, that doesn't really help us. It does numb it for a moment, right? But then here you are again the next day, and you're feeling that emotion all over again. So let's see what else. How is this coming up as a shadow? Aid of Decay, which is the Eight of Swords, which is abandoned ship. So again, some of you guys may have felt abandoned. And it doesn't even have to like mean physically, right? Maybe you just felt abandoned emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically as well. Absolutely. It's almost like I'm getting like this feeling of like someone gave up, like someone just kind of gave up. Okay, whether that's something that's currently happening. A lot of the times what we experience is based on things from the past. So for example, I always tell people, you know, a lot of our relationships and connections that we have, they're going to mirror back to us a lot of our childhood wounds. But a lot of the times, you know, we are very surface level people. So we just kind of look at the surface level things. So we tend to just blame this relationship rather than actually going deeper into that wound and realizing, well, okay, you know, I felt the same way in childhood. How do I allow myself, you know, to move past this? So instead of just looking at, you know, your current relationships or even the relationships that you had in your past, obviously those are going to be steps to help you get to that root cause. But once you are able to become aware of that and be like, okay, this is something that's so much more deeper than just this, you know, maybe you've experienced abandonment in your relationships a lot. That's trying to tell you something, right? So there could be here some sort of belief again of not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough. Something here really messed with your self-esteem. You felt abandoned in some way in your lifetime, and you, in a sense, took that to heart. You took it personally. You created a reality of, I'm not good enough, right? So then that's going to be mirrored back to you. A lot of people are like, don't like to hear that. A lot of people don't like to hear about the whole reality as a reflection of what you genuinely feel within here. Because on the outside, you can seem like you're this great person, you're happy, very outgoing, very charismatic, right? Very confident, but within here, you feel a completely different way. And that's what's going to be reflected out to you. When I started this journey, I didn't start with spirituality. I started with quantum mechanics. And that is what actually really helped me get onto this journey of spirituality, because I realized how they coincide with one another. They're very similar with one another. It's actually basically the same thing. And so that's what's helped me realize that life is a mirror. You know, how you feel is what you're going to be mirrored back. That's why it's so important to do shadow work. I think that shadow work is like the first step into healing, because you're able to get down into the dirty work, right? So again, some of you guys may have felt abandoned, okay? Whether, you know, maybe by a caregiver, whatever. But let's go ahead and let's get another, I do not want this to fall on the floor. Let's go ahead and get another shadow for this. That is way too many. Let's get one more shadow. What is a shadow that is coming to play in regards to this lesson? Okay, yep, exactly. So we have the villain of decay, which is impotent. I may be saying that right or wrong. I don't know, right or wrong. So this, to me, this is the energy again of not feeling good enough. Okay. You see that this person, well, a side of his face, it's pretty attractive, right? But the other side is just kind of like, it's more so of his skeleton is showing, his skull is showing. Again, this is telling me that yes, on the outside we may feel great, we may look great, you know, we're portraying this aspect of ourselves, but within us we feel dead. We don't feel good enough, we don't feel worthy enough. Okay. And it's because, again, at one point in our life we took something personally. Maybe somebody told you that you weren't worthy, right? And hell, they don't even have to tell you. There could have been some sort of action that made you feel that, and you internalized that, right? Maybe you weren't able to express yourself, you know, or whatever the case may be. But there's this energy of not feeling good enough that's blocking you from moving forward. Okay. And again, it's up to us to understand where this is stemming from, because once you're able to understand, like, okay, this is where it came from, that's when you're genuinely able to make changes in your life. Okay. That is, excuse me, the more you work on this wound, the more that you're able to change the reality of this wound, the more you're able to change the belief system that you've held on to for so long. You're able to change that. You're able to create something different for yourself, because you realize that this was never your truth. This was somebody else's truth. So let's see, what is something that we can do to work through this, wound? What is something that we can do to work through this one? So we have the Page of Pentacles, which is concrete ideas. So to me, the feeling that I'm getting with this is learn to, well, for one, journaling may really help you guys, okay? Maybe you don't have anybody that you feel like you can trust, right? So maybe you start to write, okay? Start to write everything that you are thinking in your mind. It doesn't matter how disgusting, horrible it is or it sounds, okay? Just allow yourself to write it down. Because when you're able to get it out on paper, you're able to get it out of your mind, right? You're able to, it's almost like you're alchemizing that energy and you're placing it into something else. For others of you, you know, it's time to really, you know, it's time to do, in a sense, like rewire your mind, okay? Instead of always thinking these horrible things about yourself or about others or whatever, you know, learn to integrate positive, good affirmations within the mind. Obviously, affirmations aren't just going to work on their own, but the more you do it, the more you start trusting in yourself, the more you start believing in yourself, the more you start to not take anything personally, and you create your own ideas of yourself, then you will start to see things to shift, right? Everything is going to start shift, not everything, but there's going to be certain things that you realize, like, oh my God, this person said this about me and it didn't bother me. I just shrugged it off, you know? I love that. Okay, let's see what else. What else can we do? Okay, so we have the Tower, which is divine intervention. I love this card so much. So allow for your belief systems to be shattered. Allow for your foundations to be shattered. Allow them to, I'm kind of like getting this feeling of let them be uprooted. Okay, so that way you're able to build something that's solid, something that is you. Okay, because when you build something that is based off of authenticity, off of who you truly are, that foundation cannot be shaken no matter what comes and tries to destroy it. It can't be shaken because it's based off authenticity. This foundation that we have created right now for ourselves is not based in that. And that's why it's so easy to come in and just shatter it, right? So really allow yourself, there may be certain events in your life that come in and just kind of like, it's almost like the feeling that I'm getting is like a hurricane, right? A hurricane comes in and just sweeps everything away. Allow for that to happen so that way you're able to build on something solid. And let's get one more. And then we have the 10 of Cups, which is contentment and joy. So it's almost like when we allow for these things to happen, when we start incorporating these ideas, into building something solid within us, we start to experience more joy, more love, more happiness, because we're allowing ourselves to experience that. When we're in this energy of not feeling good enough, yes, we may want it. It sounds good on paper, but then it's like we stop ourselves from actually truly enjoying it because we don't feel worthy enough. We don't feel like we're worthy of this, although we want it so badly. We end up stopping ourselves, right? It's that overprotection energy. You don't let nothing in, not even the good. So it's like, again, the more we start to do this, the more we allow for this energy to come in, okay? And it is going to take work. You know what I mean? But that's okay, because you didn't learn all of this within a year or 2 years or 3 years. This may have been your whole life. So be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to enjoy the journey, okay? Because the experience is the journey. It's not the destination. So many of us want to get to the end of it. That's not going to happen. But you can start to enjoy the steps that you take and celebrate yourself and congratulate yourself and be like, you know what? I finally took this step and I never thought that I could. So let's see. What is some other advice, or what is some guidance? Oh, I love this. It says, you got the love. It says Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. That's so beautiful. We are going to read this out of the book. And it says, the Hadarians are believed to be the beacons of pure, divine, unconditional love who see love in all people and situations. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaries, interdependence, healthy relationships, because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love while in a separate body. To learn to love self first, and then establish healthy relationships with others. To remember that the love they seek is already within them, that they truly do have the love all on their own. The message of this card is to review the ways you may need to establish The message of this card is to review the ways you may need to establish healthier boundaries. Perhaps you're in a codependent relationship in which you may be losing your sense of self. It's common for starseeds to dive deep into relationships, particularly with those who feel safe and familiar at a soul level. Perhaps you're in a relationship in which you give more than you receive. Or perhaps there's a certain volatility. Oh my God. How can I not even say this word? I don't know, you guys. Volatility. Wow, I can't even believe I can't say that. Anyways, to it, and you're always unsure where you stand. Oh my goodness. This card is assigned to do a relationship review and see what energetic agreements you've made, consciously or unconsciously. To acknowledge if there are relationships in which you feel anxious or powerless, in which you don't feel like it is safe to relax and just be you. To assess if there are any places of inadequacy that you've used in a relationship to soothe and cover up. And the inquiry is, do you lose yourself in relationships? If so, how? Okay, so that's something for you to think about. And how can you develop a deeper love for yourself? So those are 2 questions. Okay, I really want you to sit with those questions. Write them down, journal, okay? Be honest with yourself. You know, again, honesty is very important when we're doing this kind of work. Even if we don't want to hear it, even if we don't want to acknowledge that maybe we were the ones who were being manipulative, or maybe we were the ones who were using people, right? It's okay. It's freaking okay. Don't be ashamed of being that kind of person, because a lot of the times when we do stuff like that, it is because, again, we're in this protection mode, right? We're trying to survive in some way, shape, or form. But again, you have to be honest with self. So let's get, you know, how can the planets help us? Or, you know, girl, babe, you can't come this way. There's like a lot of stuff. Anyways, she's gonna come over here because she doesn't care. Hey, sweet girl. Okay, so let's get a, let's see how, you know, maybe the planets can help us. There's a lot of stuff going on astrologically wise. I know there's Mars just went retrograde in Gemini. On the 30th. I know Saturn went direct because it's been retrograde for quite a few months, but it went direct sometime in October. Jupiter just entered Pisces, and that's also retrograde, I believe. There was also a solar eclipse in Scorpio, I think last week. And then we also have a lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 8th of November. Also, the solar eclipse, there was also a new moon in Scorpio. I know we have a full moon coming up. I don't remember when. Probably within like a week or 2. What else? I can't remember if there's any other planet. I know there's other planets that are retrograde. But I'm having a brain fart right now. I don't know if Pluto is still retrograde. I don't remember, you guys. But let's see. Okay. So we have Scorpio, I transform. What was the theme of our reading too? Transform your life. Transform your life. I love that. And again, it makes sense. It is Scorpio season. Scorpio season is probably my favorite. I am a Scorpio moon, and I have other placements in Scorpio, but Scorpio is one of my favorite seasons because this is a time to truly transform. This is the perfect time to truly go into the depths of our being, to do that shadow work, right? A lot of the times, a lot of people experience the dark night of the soul during this time, which can lead for people to fall into deep depression if they don't understand what is going on. So this is just beautiful energy. I transform. Where in your life do you need to transform? What is it that you need to transform? Let's see real quick. I'm going to read a little bit. Acknowledging desire and surrendering yourself to the depths will serve you best at this time. Scorpio is one of the most fascinating signs in the zodiac. It is ruled by Pluto, planet of gutters and extremes, and it is the sign of sex, money, and passion. It is a powerful sign. Scorpios have a bad reputation for ruthless behavior, which is not deserved. Like the other water signs, Scorpio is emotional, but not in the sympathetic way of Cancer or Pisces. When Scorpios enter a room, they don't have to say a word for the crowd to know. They can feel their energy. Their depth and their ability to understand others, all the while not revealing much about themselves, is profound. If the Scorpio card comes up, then you are being tested. You may feel isolated and on your own, without much sympathy or help from others. If so, it's time to stand on your own and fight those forces gathered against you, which makes a lot of sense about not taking things personally. You will likely win and come out much stronger and happier than before, but it is still an intense time. Baby, I know. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to read. Sometimes when this card comes up, it indicates you will be going through a period of deep self-analysis. You may seek out a professional, or you may work through this time alone by reading or through reflection. So, I love that. It's beautiful. Okay. So again, this is just a very deep time. You know, deep transformation is upon us. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay. We have Taurus, which is I have. Sister sign of Scorpio is Taurus, which is very funny to me because like I said, we just had a solar eclipse in Scorpio, and now we're about to experience a lunar eclipse in Taurus. I think we had this same energy back in like May, maybe April, May. I can't remember of this year. And then I think the last time we experienced an eclipse with Scorpio and Taurus was, I want to say maybe around like 2014, 2016, around that time frame. So a lot of things that kind of happened back in May, right, of this year, but also in those other years, those are going to be themes that may come back up again. Okay, so if you can remember, you know, what you were doing back in 2014, 2016, whenever those eclipses were happening, that could help you very deeply as well. I know you can look it up on the internet to see when those eclipses happened, and then, you know, you're able to genuinely understand, you know, maybe what you were doing around that time. So let's go ahead and get one last card. This is going to be kind of like an affirmation. So let's get one. Okay, I guess we'll take two. It says, the stillness, quiet peace, and confrontation. To stay busy is to stay distracted. Something that can help us survive our pains and troubles, but does nothing to heal them. Though it may be daunting, take the time to be still. Let the silence envelop you and learn to just be. Exactly. That, I think I was saying that in the beginning, right? You know, instead of trying to numb yourself, distract yourself, repress yourself, suppress yourself, whatever it is, just be with it. Let it come through you. Let it flow through you. When you allow for things to flow, they're able to go, right? You're not stopping it. And then the what if is verity, uncertainty, and courage. Our beliefs dictate our reality, and what we believe will be the lens through which we view the world. This lens may seem infallible, but it is not. Take time today to review your beliefs, making peace with the uncertainty that it brings. Again, what was I saying earlier? Life is a mirror. What you believe, what you feel, that's what you're going to see the world through. That's what's going to be reflected back to you. That's what you're going to experience. So allow yourself to go deep into whatever this belief is. Again, there's something here with self-esteem, okay? Not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough. Allow yourself to be with that. Allow yourself to get to the root cause of that wound. Where did this first stem from? And what steps can you take to change those belief systems? So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for being here with me, and I'm so happy I was able to do a reading. I actually feel so much more better today. I've just kind of been in the dumps, the last few weeks, and when I feel like that, I try not to like pressure myself to do things, because then I'm not in my heart, right? But today just felt like it was a good time. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys do or have done something that makes your heart absolutely happy.